Okay folks, this is Steve AV4EL. I've just finished the first part, which will be a separate episode. You know why I'm parked here facing this way. You know where I am if you watched the previous episode. And now we're just going to go across to the other side of the bridge. And look at what's over there. This is the Deep River. This is Andrew Hunter Road. We are now entering Franklinville, Randolph County, North Carolina. I like their sign and I like the symbol they chose because it represents the earliest mill here. Established 1847. History lives here. Beautiful. So I didn't go very far. And now we're going to explore this side together. And I was out here yesterday. And it was, the sun is going away and it's starting to be overcast, but it's still 70 degrees. And I found some things, and I'm going to show you. So let's just get out of the car and walk around. While I'm out of the car, I'm kind of repeating my steps from yesterday. I see the flags. Those flags were planted there over a week ago after and they originally did the boring and stuff, like 2 months ago, month and a half ago, and I'm wondering why did they come back and put more flags? And I noticed this. Well, I've just been talking to you from the other side of the river, so let's just go over here and see what's on this side. And what we discovered on the other side is that the cable on the ground is a fiber optic cable. It's not coaxial cable, it's not the old-fashioned twisted pair. Now, I did a video back where they had the boring machine literally sitting right here, and they began boring to put the conduit in the ground. Now, there's a couple of interesting things. First of all, the plenum is underground cable, Sprint, before digging, please call, North Carolina 1 call, That's good for any kind of buried cable, not just telephone cables. It's got a new tag. It says inspected 2020. Each pole has identification, and now we know there's something coming up from under the ground or going down into the ground that's shielded, protected, right? Now notice the protection doesn't go all the way to the top of the pole. They just need it to basically at truck height. And we're going to pay attention to the fact that there's 2 of those things down there. And what do we have here? Let me read it like I did on the other side and see if the numbers match. From left to right, 003056 feet. OFS, I'll be explaining in the next video about this cable. OFS, optical cable. AT-3GE8YSX-144, and then it says 08-23. It was made in August of this year, and then there's a symbol, and then it's 144F SH1-001235. This is the same cable as I was showing you on the other side. Actually, I forgot to read that's the same as the one that's on the ground. I didn't read the numbers off of the assembly cable going up the power pole, utility pole. When I was here yesterday, I had an epiphany. Because now I can see the cable differently than yesterday. And I see several different things. First of all, the lowest guy wire does contain the newly installed fiber optic. And it was when I was standing here that I noticed that the fiber optic cable doesn't have anything like ties or anything to hold it to the guy wire. And that's when I realized they probably used a machine with pulleys that pulled it. The pulleys rode on the guy wire, and it had a motor, and it was pulling the end of the cable from over there or the other way, and it was winding the end around the guy wire as it traversed over to here, pulling the slack from the other side. I'm doing it that way. I don't know which direction they pulled it. Could very well have been from this side. But that's how it's wound on the guy wire. And that's the way the new style power cables coming in, 3-lead power cables coming into my house are also done. They wind it around the guy wire. So we have one going down like this, and we can see that the shield has not been set up. And you could say because they're busy somewhere else, or it could be, as I discussed in the other section of this triage, triple, they're going to bring another one across. The question is, what will be the route? Will they put up another guy wire lower than the ones that are there? Why would they do, as I explained in the previous episode, why would they have two different routes? Are they going to take a different route? I doubt it. But I don't think they want to wind it on the same one. Why? As I explained before, look at this side. The trees are right here. If the tree falls and breaks the cable or disrupts it, how much effort is it going to take to put a new one up? If they have a separate guy wire and the first one breaks, and that's the active one, it's no more than a day. It's no more than a day to fuse the spare in place of the one that got wrecked. And that minimizes the communication disruption. Then you'd say, why would they bother? And the answer is, it may be standard procedure, and this may be a major route. And I've actually said that in prior videos months ago and a year ago, that I believe that some of the routing across the river, including down at Cedar Falls, are in fact major routes connecting areas. That these are the routes between large areas. And that's why the cabling, safety, and backup needs to be thought about. Now, there's another way to look at it. Why do they have two conduits in the ground? Maybe the one they're going to pull across is not the spare, but actually serves someone else or a different purpose. Maybe they have to have two, like I said, they're connecting two areas, and the number of fibers in here plus how many customers can be on each little fiber is not enough for connecting the two areas. And what's this? And notice that it's not just lying there, they have it tied around there. What's this? Is that going all the way through to the other end so they can pull something through here? Or is it so that they can, when the cable comes from the other side, they can get it down in here and start pulling it that way? Let's see if there's anything else on the ground here of interest. No. Now, when I was here yesterday, I noticed something. I collected seed from along here and took it home. I call them the elephant ear plants. I'm hoping you'll be able to see it. Can you see those metal strips hanging down from this cabling? There was something here like this underneath. I remember it. There was something hanging down underneath this one that's no longer on this pole. Now you could say, oh, it's your imagination. It's your imagination. That's 20 years old. I don't think so. You see? Let's look at this pole. Here's a shielding, and it's a cable like this. Here's one that was not shielded, and it's got an aluminum pipe. Pardon my camera work. And somebody intentionally cut this recently to look at that. And it goes down into this. This is not new. And here's one that's shielding. And what's this? This is, you see them, a loop to hold extra in a span in case later they need to cut the end of the cable to trim it, to work on it, and they need some slack, but they don't want it just hanging loose. They use one of these to keep it unkinked and protect it, because it's a hanging down loop. Suppose a tree falls and a branch snags it. The frame saves it. And it's the same kind of metal. What else do we have here? We have the ground wire, neutral return. That's for the power. What do we have here? What's this? I know what this is. Do you see that there's already 2 fiber optic cables going into it? And it has the capability of more of them than that? That guy fused these together. It's already closed up and sealed. Got to read it from the other side. So this is a pair that's been here a while. It's under the leaves and the grass. It's a loop there. Pardon me. And it says Time Warner Cable Fayetteville. Something optical cable 1998. Now this one, and notice the telephone. Notice the telephone symbol. I'm going to read it out because it's CommScope optical cable, so it's a different manufacturer. OS2 SM48F 1430882320002 and then there's something that's covered, and then it says it's 0.95536 feet. That's how many were in the run when they manufacture it, the number of feet. So this is Time Warner cable, fiber optic. Now, let me just tell you something. One of my friends who lives on that road going up there, when this all started, I said, are you happy that you'll be getting fiber optic? And he says, I already have it. I already have it. So on that road over there, there's already a fiber optic cable. And this cable goes along the ground, along the fence. Now, pardon my camera work. Now let's look up here. I think a heavy cable has been taken away. Look at what we have. You see how the shield on the far side goes up there, and then something comes out and goes into this tree. It goes into the tree. And from what I can see, it's a cable that was also strung on that piping guy wire where there was another one, and it comes down in here and it does a loop-de-loop on the ground and goes that way, and the other side of it is what goes around in the tree, something like that. I'm not commenting on whether this is good practice. I'm just pointing out how many cables there are, and they are fiber optic, and the fiber that they're bringing now is not new. What's new is that they're bringing it to more roads than just the one where my neighbor lives. Like there was none for me, none along 64, but for some, oh, wait a minute, I said something. I said, I thought this river crossing was a major route. And apparently it is a major route for fiber optic cable from as long ago as 20 years ago. I'm guessing. I'm guessing. It's on the ground. It's on the ground. I don't want to fall. I'm being careful. Down at that plenum, there's a crossing of the road. It's by the, right now, where the Amazon truck was. Now there's a sewer line there, that's not surprising. So here's what I found yesterday. Been under there a while. I didn't bother coming over this way. Shall we see if it runs along the fence, just for fun? Could be on the other side of the fence. Doesn't seem to be here. Pardon me for exploring. I was grabbing the wrong place. All right, so it goes down there. I can tell you where it goes. And that will be the next video. but the video will be from yesterday. When I got in my car and I started to drive that way, that turned out okay, so you'll see it from yesterday. But it's going to explain to you where that cable goes. All right? Now, is it surprising to me to find a lot of rough work in the process of trying to get it all laid out, and that they have crews that move from one priority area to another? No, not at all. As long as nobody runs over it with equipment, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Is the work here completed? No, it's in progress. Not just for maybe bringing another cable across, but other things. Because it isn't just Lumos. It's also the telephone company, and it's also Time Warner Cable, which is now Spectrum, which I get up there at my place. They're all involved, if only because the new cabling is going to be nestled to their older cable. They're all involved. So they also have to coordinate. And why would you coordinate? To make sure nobody damages yours, right? So, I'm going to get back in my car. I'm going to say, see you in 73. And now the next episode will be actually yesterday. And it was another, quote, discovery that relates to the missing cable that used to hang there. And with that, this is Steve A. B4L, getting back in his car, saying see you in 73.